My professor was a chemistry teacher, and she was undeniably stunning. Her blonde hair was always styled in a sleek bun, and her white lab coat accentuated her curves in the most alluring way. She had a way of carrying herself that commanded attention, and her black stockings and heels only added to her sophisticated beauty. I couldn't help but be drawn to her from the very beginning. Every week, we would spend 2 hours in the lab together, and I would find myself stealing glances at her whenever I could. She had a playful attitude that made her even more captivating, and her smile could light up a room. One day, as I was working at my station, I was struggling to complete a task. She noticed my frustration and came over to help me. As she leaned in, she took my hand and gently pushed it to the side. Her touch sent shivers down my spine, and I couldn't help but let my hand glide against her slim waist. It was a euphoric moment, and I couldn't hide my reaction. I think she may have sensed my attraction to her, because she didn't seem to mind my touchy behavior. In fact, she would often encourage me to touch her waist or her figures, playfully swatting my hand away when I got too close. It was a thrilling game we played, and I reveled in every moment of it. Even though we never took things further than a few stolen touches, the tension between us was palpable. Every time she touched my arm or playfully hit my chest, I felt a rush of excitement. It was as if we were dancing around our desires, both of us aware of the attraction but neither of us willing to cross the line. Looking back, I realized that our flirtation was a dangerous game. We were both adults, but we were also in a position of power imbalance. I was her student, and she was my teacher. It was a line that couldn't be crossed, no matter how strong the temptation. I was a track athlete, and my girlfriend would often come to my meets to support me. She would cheer me on with all her might, her bright smile and enthusiastic cheers always made me feel like a champion. But there was one thing that made me feel like a total failure: the group of girls who would show up to the meets in miniskirts and tank tops. They were always sitting on the bleachers, giggling and flirting with the guys on the team. I had always managed to ignore them, focusing instead on my performance and my girlfriend's encouragement. But one fateful day, I made the mistake of glancing over at the group. My eyes lingered for just a moment too long, and my girlfriend caught me. She saw the way my eyes wandered, the way my gaze lingered on the girls' curves and cleavage. She saw the way my manhood grew, as if it was a physical manifestation of my desire. Her expression changed from cheerful to disappointed in an instant. She looked at me with a mixture of sadness and anger, as if she couldn't believe I would do this to her. I knew I had messed up, big time. After the meet, she barely spoke to me. She avoided me like the plague, her eyes flashing with anger whenever she looked at me. I tried to apologize, to explain that it was just a mistake, that I didn't mean anything by it. But she wasn't having it. A few hours later, she broke up with me. She said she couldn't trust me anymore, that she couldn't be with someone who couldn't control their desires. I felt like I had been punched in the gut, like all the air had been knocked out of me. I couldn't believe that one stupid mistake had cost me the girl I love. She didn't do anything particularly bad other than doing it with 5 dudes all at once. It was a night that I will never forget. I had heard rumors about my girlfriend's infidelity through a friend, but I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to think that the person I loved and trusted could do something like that to me. But then I started to hear more and more details, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. My girlfriend had told me that she was going to the library to study, but instead, she went straight to one of the guys' dorm rooms to party. There were drinks and things spiraled out of control. One of the guys even pulled her hair while they were dancing, and she enjoyed it. They started making out, and then other guys joined in. It was like a nightmare come true. I was so angry and hurt that I decided to get revenge. I called one of my girlfriend's hot friends and we hooked up. I had always been loyal to my girlfriend and turned down opportunities to go out with this girl, but her actions had betrayed my trust and hurt me deeply. I didn't feel guilty about cheating on my girlfriend because I felt like she had betrayed me first. We did it in my girlfriend's room, and I left all the evidence behind. I blocked my girlfriend on social media and never talked to her again. In high school, I dated a girl who was infamously known for getting pregnant during her freshman year. As a transfer student, I had heard the rumors but wasn't sure if they were true. It wasn't until I visited her home that I realized the rumors were actually true. Her mother was taking care of the baby, and it was clear that she was overwhelmed and stressed. She looked tired and burdened, and I could tell that she was struggling to cope with the situation. My girlfriend had told me that the father of the baby was a guy she had been dating at the time, but he had refused to use protection and she couldn't afford contraceptives or Plan B. Despite the challenges she faced, my girlfriend had accepted the situation and was doing her best to raise her child. However, what really concerned me was the fact that the guy who had gotten her pregnant had threatened to hurt her if she told anyone about the situation or sought help. I was deeply troubled by this revelation, and I knew that I had to do something to help. I decided to tell the police about the situation and the threats that my girlfriend had received. I also made sure to provide them with any information I had about the guy who had gotten her pregnant. As a result of my actions, the guy was arrested and eventually sent to prison. I was relieved that my girlfriend was finally safe and that she could get the support and help she needed to raise her child. Looking back, I realized that I made the right decision by speaking out and seeking help. Me and my wife have been experimenting with an open relationship, and I have discovered that I truly enjoy having multiple partners. Specifically, I enjoy having two girls pleasuring and satisfying me at the same time. However, I am hesitant to tell my girlfriend about this desire, as I fear it may lead to disagreements or even the end of our relationship. My girlfriend and I have discussed the idea of having a threesome, and she was open to the idea as long as we try it once with a guy and once with a girl. I agreed to this. I wanted to experience the pleasure of having two girls' attention on me, and I knew that I couldn't do that with just one girl. I decided to go ahead and set up a threesome with another girl after the experience with a guy. The experience was incredible, and I felt like I was in heaven. Having two girls pleasuring me at the same time was everything I had hoped for and more. However, now that I have experienced this, I want to continue exploring this lifestyle. I want to tell my girlfriend about my desires, but I know that she may not be on board with it. I don't want to lose her, but I also don't want to give up on this newfound pleasure. I am torn between being honest with my girlfriend and keeping my desires a secret. I know that if I tell her, she may want to try it with another guy, or she may break up with me altogether. I don't want to lose her, but I also don't want to miss out on this opportunity to explore my desires. I want to find a way to make this work without jeopardizing my relationship, but I don't know if that's possible. What should I do?